श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः पराङ्मुखं नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीम्। ॐ। Page 7, verse 9. उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं मग्नं संसारवारिधौ योगारूढत्वमासाद्य सम्यक् दर्शननिष्ठया. We had covered this verse in the last session, but to recap, we will go through it in a summary form. Acharya Shankara Bhagavad-pada is saying that we have a responsibility to improve our own lot, to rescue ourselves from drowning under the ocean of samsara. Because the means to escape samsara lies within ourselves. It is the mind which is the cause of samsara, and it is the very same mind which is the means with which to escape samsara also. And therefore, the responsibility to rescue ourselves from samsara is our own. Yes, Ishvara, Guru, and the Shastra all play a very, very important, crucial role because the teaching comes from the Veda. The Guru is the one who paves the way and teaches us, and it is Ishvara who removes obstacles and blesses us and graces us. He has graced us both with the Shastra, but also with the opportunity to meet such a Guru. And he will also play a very important role in removing all the obstacles. Yes, so grace is very important, but despite that, the responsibility of jnana sadhana lies with ourselves. It is our responsibility to rescue ourselves. That is why it says, Uddharen Atmana Atmanam, from the great ocean of samsara, samsara varidhav. And the means to do that is through yoga rudhatvam. And through yoga rudhatvam, vairagya is meant. But more broadly, it is the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, or the key qualifying factors that are necessary to give us the capability or the capacity to process Vedanta. So before the entry into Vedanta, we need to have a highly refined mind which possesses dispassion, discrimination, control of our sense organs and mind, and a deep desire for moksha. So the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is being referred to here by the term yoga rudhatvam, the fourfold qualifications. And therefore, through yoga rudhatvam or the fourfold qualifications, one attains the capability to get the knowledge of the self, the right knowledge of the self. And that right knowledge of the self is referred to here as samyak darshana. That is the knowledge of the identity of the self with Brahman. That the entire universe, the Ishvara and the Jiva are nothing but various manifestations of the one consciousness. That the manifestation themselves do not have an existence apart from the consciousness themselves. That they are intrinsically unreal projections on the only real entity, which is consciousness. And therefore, after that unreal universe and the unreal adjuncts that make up the Jiva and the Ishvara are negated, what remains is the one impartite consciousness, undivided consciousness. And so that is the Samyak Darshanam. And the nishtha in that Samyak Darshanam, the abidance in that right knowledge, is the direct means to moksha. And therefore, what Shankara Bhagavad-pada is saying is that one has the responsibility to uplift oneself from the ocean of samsara through abidance in the right knowledge of the identity of the self with Brahman, which in turn is dependent on having yoga rudhatvam or the fourfold qualifications necessary to enter the study of Vedanta. So with that brief summary, we can start looking at the commentary to this verse by Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswami. Reading, Sangrahenoktamartham saptabihi shlokair vivrinoti. The brief meaning that was provided in verse number 8 by Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada is being expanded in the next 7 verses, verses 9 to 15. तत्र मुक्त्यर्थं क्रियमाणप्रयत्नस्य सम्यग्दर्शननिष्ठान्तत्वात् मोक्षसाक्षात्साधनं सम्यग्दर्शननिष्ठां तत्र मुख्यहेतुं परवैराग्यापर्यायं योगारूढत्वं चाह अनेन श्लोकेन. So Acharya is saying in the previous verse, Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada had said, Ato vimuktyai prayateta vidvan. The wise person must strive hard for liberation. And therefore he is saying here, Muktyartham kriyamana prayatnasya, the effort that is made in order to achieve mukti or liberation, samyak darshana nishthantatvat. It culminates in the abidance in right knowledge, abidance in the knowledge of the identity of the Atma as Brahman. So, the direct means to moksha, moksha sakshat sadhanam, is samyak darshana nishtha. And the chief aim or the mukhya hetu for that nishtha is paravairagyam or supreme detachment. And that is what is synonymous or means the same thing as yoga rudatvam. Therefore, yoga rudatvam here means absolute detachment. And he's quoting a Bhagavad Gita verse, the one that we referred to in the last session, where the term yoga rudham occurs. Yada hi nendriyartheshu na karmasu anushajyate sarvasankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhaha tadauchyate. Iti Bhagavad Vachanat Paravairagya Purasara Samyak Darshana Nishtaiva Samsarabdi Patita Atmodharane Heturiti Bhavaha. So Bhagavan here is saying that when an individual is not attached to or attracted by sense objects in the Indriyarthaha, nor is he attracted to or attached to the means, the actions to secure those objects. When he is a Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi, that is, when he has even given up any notions of seeking to achieve these things, when all such sankalpas have been renounced, at such an individual is called a Yoga Rudha. So, from this, what Bhagavan is saying is that the ascendancy into yoga essentially means the perfection in vairagyam or renunciation. Therefore, what Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal is saying is that Bhagavan's words in the Gita refer to Samyak Darshana or the right knowledge being a result of extreme renunciation or absolute renunciation. Paravairagya Purasara Samyak Darshana Nishtha. And it is such a Samyak Darshana Nishtha which is necessary to cross the ocean of samsara. Samsarabdhi patita atmodharane hetuho iti bhavaha. The Acharya then justifies why Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada describes samsara as a big ocean by quoting a verse from the Yuddhakanda of the Adhyatma Ramayana, which is found in the Brahmanda Purana. The verse goes like, Kleshadi Panchaka Tarangayutam Brahmadhyam Dharatmajapta Jashabhayuktam Aurvanalabha Nijarosha Manangajalam Samsara Sagaram Atitya Harim Vrajami. Here, Ravana is saying that I know that I am going to be slayed by Rama and I am going to attain the feet of Hari, Bhagavan Vishnu, after having crossed the ocean of samsara. And he says, this is an ocean because it contains the waves such as the Klesha, the Panchakam. Now in the Yoga Sutra, Bhagavan Patanjali describes the 5 kinds of afflictions, Pancha Klesha, which are avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Avidya means the lack of discrimination between the self and the non self, the lack of discrimination between the real and the unreal. Asmita means the sense of I or ego. Raga means attachment. Dvesha means hatred or repulsion. And Abhinivesha is the strong attachment to the physical body and the fear of death of that physical body. And in the Adhyatma Ramayana verse, it says that Samsara Sagara is characterized by these 5 waves of afflictions, which are these Panchakleshas. Not only are these 5 kinds of waves, the ocean of samsara also contains the whirlpool of Brahma or delusions, which suck people deeper and deeper into that ocean. And any ocean will have large fish and other sea creatures that are ready to prey upon unsuspecting victims. Ravana says the ocean of samsara also contains such creatures. And he says that these are none but one's relatives, the wife, the son, friends, relations, wealth. All these are sea creatures that are ready to pounce upon one and consume one. The sea also contains undersea volcanoes, and anger is that volcano that is under the ocean. Just like these undersea volcanoes cause great turmoil to the ocean and the sea creatures, similarly, anger causes great turmoil in one's life. Ravana makes another point of comparison. He says that love, affection, etc., is a great web that ensnares all. Just like a fishing net catches sea creatures, similarly, one's affections, the web of affections, ensnares victims. So, by the use of various poetic devices, Ravana compares samsara to a great ocean. And Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal quotes from the Adhyatma Ramayana to justify samsara being called an ocean in the Viveka Chudamani verse. It says Magnam Samsara Varidho. That comparison is being justified. He quotes another verse, this time by Adishankara Bhagatpada himself, in the Lakshmi Nrsimha Karavalambam. The verse is as follows: Samsara Sagara Vishala Karala Kala Nakra Graha Grasana Nigraha Vigrahasya Vyagrasya Raga Nichayor Minipiditasya Lakshmi Nrsimha Mamadehi Karavalambam. He says, O Bhagavan Lakshmi Nrsimha, I'm stuck in this ocean of samsara, which is a very, very vast ocean, and I have been caught by sea creatures which are deadly black and are killing me. I am afflicted by various waves of passion, attachments to pleasures like the various sense of tastes, etc., etc. So therefore, please lend me a hand and help me cross this ocean of samsara. Thus, Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal is justifying the appropriateness of the ocean metaphor in relation to samsara, samsara sagara or samsara varidhi. इत्यादि रीत्या अविद्या तद्विलासरूपस्य संसारस्य सम्यग्ज्ञानं विना दुस्तरत्वात् वारिधित्वेन रूपणम्. In this manner, as samsara is the embodiment of ignorance and is the place where it is manifested, it is being figuratively described as an ocean. And like an ocean, it is difficult to cross without the boat of right knowledge. Samyak jnanam vina dustaratvat. न ह्यनात्मानं देहमात्मत्वेन मन्वानस्य तस्मिन् जायमाने म्रियमाणे वा तद्गतधर्मः स्वस्मिन्नास्ति इति विज्ञातुं शक्यम्। क्षुत्पिपासायुते वा प्राणे सुखिनी दुःखिनी वा antahkarane. So Acharya is saying is that the individual who considers the non-self, the body, to be himself. That is, he identifies with the body, and not just this gross body, but the subtle body comprising the mind, the prana, etc. The one who considers himself to be non different from the body, and whatever is the body's property, he considers to be his own property. So when the body suffers, he thinks that he is suffering. When the mind is suffering, he thinks that he is suffering. Therefore, for such an individual who identifies with the body completely, when the body is born and dies, he says that he is being born and he is dying. And whatever are the properties of the body, he says that they belong to him. And therefore, an individual who identifies with the body will not be able to say or know that all these are the body's properties and that birth, death, etc. belongs to the body. He will not be able to say because he identifies with the body. Nor will he be able to say that the properties of hunger and thirst, which actually belong to prana, he will not be able to say that they belong to prana and not me. He will say, I am hungry, I am thirsty. Similarly, when his mind is agitated, angry, or sad, he will transpose those attributes of the mind upon himself and say that I am happy, I am sad, I am angry. Without right knowledge, he will not be able to distinguish between the subtle body, the gross body, and himself. And he will not be able to distinguish the properties of the body, whether it is gross or subtle, with his own condition. So when something happens to those bodies, he considers it to have happened to himself. एवम् अविद्या अस्मिता रागद्वेष अभिनिवेशानां सन्ततत्वात् क्लेशादिपञ्चकस्य तरङ्गतया रूपणं भ्रम एव भ्रमः अतस्मिन् तद्बुद्धिरेव आवर्तः इत्यादि स्पष्टम्. Thus, the Panchakleshas of the Yoga Sutra, being avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, avidya being ignorance, asmita being ego, raga being attachment, dvesha being aversion, abhinivesha being a fear of death because of the attachment of the body, they constantly keep afflicting the individual both in this life and in other lives. And therefore, they have been compared to the waves. Then Acharya says, Brahma eva Brahmaha. That is, delusion is the whirlpool. And here the word Brahma is being used in both senses, as delusion but also as a whirlpool. And he's clarifying that as Avartaha. So that is the whirlpool. And what is the whirlpool? Atasmin tad buddhihi. This is the famous definition of adhyasa or superimposition that Shankara Bhagavad gives in the Adhyasa Bhashyam. Atasmin tad buddhireva iti avochama, he says. That is taking something to be something else. That is adhyasa or superimposition. Here, in this context, it means taking the self to be the non-self, the body, mind, etc. इत्यादि स्पष्टम्. अनाद्य विद्यावशात् अज्ञः कर्ता मनुष्योऽहम् इत्यादि रीत्या स्थूल सूक्ष्म कारण शरीरेषु अनात्मसु अहमिति स्वरूप अप्राप्त्या स्थितिरेव संसारवारिधिमग्नत्वम् असंग सच्चिदानंद रूपस्य आत्मनः. So here he is saying samsara is because of anadi avidya. That is, this avidya or ignorance which has no beginning. It is a beginningless sequence of ignorance, superimposition, karma, body, death, etc., etc. This has been going on forever, which is what again Adi Shankara Bhagavad in the Adhyasa Bhashya says, Naisargikoyam loka vyavaharaha. This worldly transactions that we are doing has been happening from a beginningless time. And because of that, one takes on incorrect notions such as agyaha. I am actually ignorant. I do not know my own nature. And because of that, what happens? He says, I am a karta, I am a doer. Because one does not know that one is akarta, he takes himself to be karta. So the root cause is ajnana. Because of that, kartrutvam or doership has been superimposed. Because of that doership, one has taken a physical body. Because when somebody takes on doership, he starts performing actions. When he performs actions, he gets the results of the actions. And what are the results? Next life. And in that next life, you are born as a human being. So what do we say? Manusyoham. Agyaha karta manusyoham. And what does a human being do? He performs more karma, which leads to what? More lives. So thus, this never-ending cycle of births, action, further births, action, etc., etc., the root cause of that is because of ajnana. The root cause of samsara is this anadi avidya or ignorance. Is the reason for these successive births and this drowning in the ocean of samsara. Ityadi ritya sthula sukshma karana sharireshu. In such a manner, one takes on the identity of the sthula sharira, which is this physical gross body, sukshma sharira being the mind, the prana, etc., and karana sharira being the sharira of ignorance, which is present in deep sleep, and which is the also known as the Anandamaya Kosha. And what are these? They are anatma. Stula Sukshma Karana Sharireshu Anatmasu, he says. And what happens in such anatmas? Well, ahamiti sthiti. One says, I am these things. I am the physical body. I am the mind. I am ignorant. They have such a ahamiti sthiti. And what is the reason for that? Swarupa apraptya. Because one does not know what the Swarupa is. One does not know that one is Satchidananda Atma. So, the Asanga Satchidananda Atma, the self, which is Sat, existence, Chit, consciousness, Ananda, bliss, that is the true nature of the self. And which is what? Asanga. It is totally unconnected with these bodies. It has no relations whatsoever with these bodies. It merely exists. And by its mere existence, the body takes on the nature of consciousness. The body becomes conscious because of the presence of consciousness. Consciousness does not attach to the body, it is present everywhere. But the body reflects that consciousness and thinks itself to be conscious. And the notion of the aham or I, instead of that notion being associated with the Satchidananda Atma, one associates with this physical body instead, because one does not know oneself. And that attachment or the notion of I with the body is what Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal is calling Samsara Varidhi Magnatvam. With that, we will pause the session now and we will consider the rest of the Vyakhya in the next session. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti